Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. EdTalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. A topic for the day is rewriting history in CBSE syllabus, and to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Mr. Abhishek Yadav, sir, founder, chairman, and academic director of Griffins International School, West Bengal. A very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope you are having a great day.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, we are. Thank you so much for, taking out your precious time.
Thank you for having me, ma'am. Yes.
So let's start off with the session now, sir, shall we?
Yes. Very interesting topic. So I'd be very happy to discuss.
Absolutely, sir. So as we all know that government have, removed a few topics from the CBSE syllabus. So do you support the latest curriculum, brought into effect?
Ma'am, if you look at it, it is the rationalization which the government has said. I think the NCERT has done it, if I look at it exactly. And while seeing also what the point of view of the NCERT director is, and looking in the backdrop, that COVID has an impact on the way children are learning and the kind of amount of time they can spend. I think it is important that we need to rationalize the syllabus. There is no doubt in that, because you see, over a period of time, it's just not about one or two subjects, but a lot of new other skills which have come into the overall requirement of the children. And if you don't make time for those, to develop those skills, I think children are going to have a very tough time. And I think, let's say, if I just add it, this basic life skills, which a lot of things were taken for granted, and we could get at the home environment and so many other things. But now you need to develop, and a lot of coding skills are required, which is a fundamental now. And if you don't provide children with the time that is required to develop these skills, the 21st century skills, I think it is going to be very, very difficult for them to compete in going ahead. And another important aspect, if you look at it, is the overall education has moved from just knowledge based, to more and more application based. Because earlier it was if you think 80s, 90s, the more information you had, you would be the one who would get the job. But now, with technology being present and information being accessible at your will and call whenever you want, it's more and more how we look to do things without even just recalling, but making use of that information. Because now we are in a scenario where there's overload of information, and it's important to prune which is the right, which is the wrong information, how we can actively use it so that incorrect information does not distract us from the key goal or objective that we are trying to fulfill. So I would say it is a very good move to have a rationalization of syllabus. In fact, higher education, what happens interestingly, every 3 years they try to revise the syllabus so that it is up to date with the current happenings. School has been a lot more slower. During last year again, CBSE, earlier also this NCERT had done it. Now they are doing it. I would be happy every 5 years, maybe at least, if they rationalize syllabus. I think that would be great. There is no doubt in that.
Absolutely, sir. The syllabus has to be, more applicable among students. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. So moving on, do you think dropping the topics like democracy and diversity, Mughal courts and food security was of least significance in history?
That's a tough call to say. When you say something is least significant, that is, I think, incorrect way of looking at it. See, let's understand what is history. Even if I go a little back, what is the topic you have given? Rewriting Indian history. But let's understand, NCERT is not rewriting in Indian history. It is just selecting certain parts and certain, not the entire thing. And if you look at it overall, also the history we've always had, in terms of people speaking from their point of view. Most of the times, it's a very famous saying, history is written by winners.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that only. So when whoever is in charge, sadly, they try to put their own thought process in the way the history is written. So it's more and more important that we remove some chapters. It is not that Mughals are less important, or maybe, let's say, democracy and diversity are less important. But it's also one more thing, that some of the things are already taught to the students. Let's put it like that way. Some things they are learning already in different places. Like even if I go a little lower down the class, you see class 6, 7 also, some chapters in geography have been removed. Some chapters on civics have been removed. Science also, some of the chapters have been removed in class 9, 10, and I was, as of being from the science background, I was a little disappointed. But then I looked at the rationale which was there, and it is really important that if they miss that also, there's not that they're going to really miss a lot of things, but more important that how they make use of the time that they have got. Because if you're reducing the syllabus, there are two things comes up. First, you are giving children opportunity to go in depth, how we effectively use it, right? Democracy is foremost important. There is no doubt in that. I would have liked it to be remaining there, but because if you look at the political science subject, it is completely already covered there, and most of the students are taking both political science and history, so I think it is not a big deal. Mughals, if you look at it again, because earlier also in lower grades also you learn a lot detail about what Mughals have been doing. So instead of focusing on these things, I think if they have reduced the syllabus, which is good, let's try to objectively look at these topics. That is more important, I would say, because you would want children to be able to analyze things objectively. In the Constitution, one important fundamental duty is to develop scientific rationale, scientific thinking process among the children. So as school educators, I think this is one of the primary responsibility that rests on us. So you want people to look at things or people in an objective manner, and just not believe that things are white and black.
Yeah.
Right. If I analyze any great leader, let me put it, let's say Maharana Pratap maybe, or Akbar, all have their positives and negatives. And sadly, when history is being taught to students, it is just one perspective which is being taught. Why are we not teaching students that Maharana Pratap was a great leader, but he also had some flaws? If we can find that, we should tell students. Akbar was great. He did so many great things, but also he did so many which are not so great and maybe not good. Likewise, everybody. Why don't we teach students to think in an objective manner? Or let's come a little further ahead. Let's say Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yeah.
Now, there's a big lot of people have criticized that he had not joined, let's say, the permanent seat in the United Nations, and he offered it to somebody else, or maybe any other action that he had taken as a prime minister. It's very easy for us to criticize these things because we have seen the entire history. After an incident, it's always easy to who is at fault and what is right, wrong. But if you have to really judge or understand the perspectives, why they wanted freedom? In that moment, people would think everything is better. So we should look to teach children to think in that objective way, see that things are as they are, not with what suits us or what we like.
Yeah.
We like to portray somebody as negative, we like to portray somebody as positive, which is a very incorrect way of seeing things because it is diminishing our intelligence. And our students are not able, and they will eventually become citizens. And the way they look at, let's say, their present leaders also, let it be the current prime minister or the chief minister of any state, they all have positives and negatives. And as educators, it is important we should teach children to look at both the aspects, appreciate what are good things, which are not so good things, maybe to point out critical analysis if that can be done. Then we are doing our role as our educators. So I'm not worried whether 2-3 chapters are removed. I think that is not going to make much difference even if you add 5 more chapters also, because unless we do this critical thinking, unless children are taught to think in a way and analyze their actions, whatever action has been taken, try to think in that way, we will not be doing justice as is required.
Absolutely, sir. And when it comes to, portraying either a good side or a bad side of any particular individual. So, moving on to the next question. Do you think removing about the Mughals from the syllabus, is it a biased move according to you, sir? What do you think?
I don't think so. Maybe this question comes from given how current dispensation has been working, or maybe people believing that. But I don't think so, because not only Mughals have been removed. If you look at it, the role of American hegemony in post Second World War in the world history has also been removed. So many other things have also been removed. So that is the problem. I always feel that especially the people who are in a position to look at things objectively, but sadly refrain to do so. So I strongly believe it is just as others have been removed, because not only this, some of the questions about emergency, a lot of this the syllabus has been removed. There has been removed about Gujarat riots also. There have been removed about caste system also. So many. Yeah. So different spectra of topics have been removed. So I think it's unfair or to the committee, because again that committee is a very experienced panel is there, right, who are all eminent academicians, and if it's unfair, I would really say that it is just biased. Had it been, yes, only if Mughals is removed, or any particular topic related to any particular community or caste or something, then I would certainly say yes, it is 100% bias. But when I see across the board, if they have been doing it, then I think it's not fair to say that it is bias. Rather, it's because I think whenever anything of this sort is done, there's a lot of debate. Internal discussions are there, I think, and they should know. And I think one topic which is removed, which I really feel should not have been removed, is that when the Constitution was framed, the Constituent Assembly had a lot of discussions and deliberations. Children must know that. Yeah. Because then they will come to know, suppose a particular law has been framed, what is the thought process? Why is it done? Yeah. Right? And as a civilization, history is not, what has happened is that it is, if you add up all the facts, basically what as humans have done over the past thousands of years that has been doing. And instead of teaching our children that what mistakes have been done in the past and how to ensure that it doesn't happen. That is the primary purpose of any history that is being taught. And if you're not teaching the rationales behind them, then these are just numbers and figures, and this battle happened that time, this battle happened that time, this person died, this person killed, this kingdom ruled from this, but it's just not helping us in any way. Primary agenda, I believe, is that history should teach us, because we know history repeats itself, and it's because habits of people are going to be same in similar conditions. So in that case, it is important that children learn to identify these red flags, what exist. Example, if certain thing is happening, when can you expect this kind of repetition to happen? Let's say, example, we learned a little bit of German history is being taught. Holocaust is a big issue, I think, and certainly a bad thing. But what prompted people to reach that situation? What are the red flags do you see? When you can understand, okay, these things are happening, I know it is 2 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, this kind of situation is, if it is being created, we could expect a repetition of the similar kind of thing. So if we are able to identify these red flags, so that we can start working towards it, because at the end, it's already too late and you have no power to change the course. So always easier to change course initially. So teaching children to identify these things, I think, would go in a long way. The purpose of history would be fulfilled. As a civilization, I mean, Chinese and Indians are the oldest civilizations that exist today as their original form. Others all have been decimated or whatever, they have changed completely. And we have pursued for so long. And then what is the reason that why we could allow so many people to invade? So that is a history people must know what could be done. So that again, there's no invasion again, because still China is on our head. Yeah. Let's face it. So like that, there are so many possibilities there. What as a nation can we do so that there is no further, diminishing of the great motherland that we love?
Absolutely, sir. So when it comes to, what if, Abhishek, sir, you were given the authority to make changes in rewriting the syllabus, what would have you, incorporated or excluded, sir?
I wouldn't say, I think not adding more things are not required. And certainly, I think it's more reducing some more things which are repeated, certainly. But more and more important, as I said earlier also, is keeping the syllabus quantity less, quality more. Yeah. That I think is more important, because better in-depth analysis of things better in-depth analysis of why these decisions were taken, what prompted certain kings to do this kind of thing, irrespective of the ages from where they were. Those are more and more important things. As I said, this will help children to understand and analyze the challenges that could come. Because now what is happening in history, if I look at the lower level especially, it is more and more only one thing. Remembering of facts, whose father is what, who has done what, which kingdom has attacked which one. But that is not really going to help us in any way, because it is not possible to remember. And even if you remember, what good is it? It doesn't really make a difference, because you can easily look up these data in the internet. More important is that, as I said, to understand the context, why this is being done, and if certain things were let's say different, what would have happened. I think if you could do that,
Yes,
I think as educators, I would look to move more towards that only, rather than increasing the quantity, because I think there's no use of adding more and more parts of syllabus, because the history is huge and you can keep, one generation, or if you spend a lifetime also, still you cannot complete reading the entire history. So we have to choose what is more relevant to us, which can have an impact going ahead, and pick those things, I would say.
indeed, sir. Picking up the most relevant things that actually is applicable according to you. Thank you so much, Abhishek, sir, for being here and guiding us. And that was a really informative session with you. Thank you so much again for taking out your
Thank
precious
you. I'll
time.
just add one more thing before I
Sure,
go.
sir.
I think I'll just add one more thing. I think, see, Indian history is pretty old, as I said. It's more than at least 5,000 years. And some people say it is our history, especially we think Islamist conquest which have come are not our history or something like that. I strongly would like to say that anything good or bad is our history, first of all. And anything that has happened in our country is our history. So whether we like it or not like it doesn't make a difference. It is part of our history, and we have to present it as it is, instead of putting a story across it. It should not be his story, that means, or her story, but it is actually history. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
absolutely,
Thank
sir.
you.
That should be portrayed how actually it is. Um, not just telling
Through
the good
bias or
things.
any
Yeah,
other.
absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having them. Wonderful. Bye.
Have a good day, sir. And for all the
Thank you.
subscribers, please don't forget to subscribe our channel and like, share, and comment for more stuff like this. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Take care.